So this video is a numericals video of multi-vibrators session, and we are going to do numericals from multi-vibrators using BJT. Okay, so there is a lot of questions or numerical videos based on multi-vibrators using 555 timer IC over the YouTube and internet, but you cannot really find questions with numericals from this multi-vibrator using BJT. Okay, so we are going to do that because we have done the formula revision of multi-vibrators using BJT. Soon we'll be doing a video on multi-vibrators using 555 IC, its equations and all. Then we'll be doing the numericals. Okay, so the first question is, an stable multi-vibrator circuit is required to produce a series of pulses at a frequency of 500 Hz with a mark to space ratio 1:5. R1 equal to R2 equal to 100 k ohm. Calculate C1, C2. So the frequency of the wave produced by the stable multivibrator is directly given to you. That is, F is equal to 500 Hz. Now, if F is 500, then what is T? T is equal to 1 by 500, which is equal to 2 into 10 raised to minus 3 seconds. Or you can write it as 2 milliseconds. So this is the time period, which is a total time period. T is equal to T1 plus T2, right? Now, we don't need T1 or T2. We need C1 and C2. How can we relate T1 and T2 to C1 and C2? So the relation is T1. So we have discussed about these equations in detail while discussing a stable multivibrator. So T1 is given by, that is the on time of the transistor Q1 or the off time of transistor Q2. Then T2 is the on time of transistor Q2 or the off time of transistor Q1. So these things we have discussed. Okay, so just know that T1 is equal to 0.69 R1 C1 and T2 equal to 0.69 R2 C2. So it is given that R1 equal to R2 equal to 100k. So you can call it as R only, and R value is equal to R1 equal to R2 is equal to R, that is equal to 100k ohms. So this is the value. Now we need to find what is T1 and T2, but we don't know what is we need to find C1 and C2, but we don't know T1 and T2 either. So how to find it? Now for finding T1 and T2, another point is given in the question that with a mark to space ratio of 1:5 means it is actually the ratio of T1 is to T2. That is the mark to space ratio, and it is given by 1:5. Now we don't know what is T1 and T2, but its ratio is given. So you can write T1 is equal to 1 by 6. If it is a ratio, then it is 1 by 6th of total time period T, and T2 will be equal to 5 by 6 of total time period T, where total time period is 2 into 10 raised to minus 3 seconds, right? So from that we can find T1 and T2. Okay, so I'm going to remove all this and I'm going to write or find T1 and T2 first. T1 is equal to 1 by 6 into 2 into 10 raised to minus 3 seconds, and T1 is obtained as 3.33 into 10 raised to minus 4 seconds. Also T2 is equal to 5 by 6 T, which is 2 into 10 raised to minus 3, and it is obtained as 1.66 into 10 raised to minus 3 seconds. Okay, so we have now T1 and T2. Now is it difficult to find C1 and C2? No, we can directly use the earlier written equation. From that we can find C1 and C2. Okay, so just remember that C1 is this and T1 is this and T2 is this. I'm going to write the equations back, or I'll write it here. Okay, that will be good. I'll write it here. So first I need to find C1. So I'm going to write the equation for T1 equal to 0.69 R C1. R1 and R2 we have taken as R. Okay, so T1 you have to substitute or just cross multiply and find C1 is equal to T1 is 3.33 into 10 raised to minus 4 by 0.69 into R is 100K. 100 into 10 raised to 3 into this much. Okay, so this is your C1, 3.33, that is T1 by R 0.69 into 10K, which is 10K, not 10K, it is 100K. So 100 into 10 raised to 3. And if you solve it, the value obtained is 4.83 into 10 raised to minus 9 farads. Okay, so you can write this as 4.83 into 10 raised to minus 3 means it is nanofarads, right? So it is 4.83 nanofarads it is. Okay, so we have obtained the value for C1 as 4.83 nanofarads. Similarly, substitute and find the value for C2. We don't need any of this. So I'm going to directly write the equation for C2 is equal to T1 by 0.69 R, right? Sorry, it is not T1, it is T2. Okay. Or else I'll write once again. T2 is equal to 0.69 R C2. From that, C2 is equal to T2 by 0.69 R. So C2 is equal to T2 by 0.69 R. T2 value is 1.66 into 10 raised to minus 3 by 0.69 into R is 100 into 10 raised to 3 it is. So if you solve it, you will be getting 2.41 into 10 raised to minus 8, or you can write it as 24.1 nanofarads. Okay. So value of C1 is 4.83 nanofarad and C2 is equal to 24.1 nanofarad. The next question is on the board. An stable multivibrator circuit is constructed using two timing capacitors of equal value 3.3 microfarad and two base resistors of value 10K. So both the resistors and capacitors are of equal value R and C. Okay. Calculate minimum and maximum frequency if 100K ohm dual gang potentiometer is connected in series with the two resistors. So not just the two resistors, but another potentiometer is also connected with it. And we need to find what is the minimum and the maximum frequency of the wave generated by this stable multivibrated circuit. Okay, so what is the equation for frequency? The equation for frequency is F equal to 1 by 1.38 RC. So this is the total frequency equation for the stable multivibrator. Now here we have to put value for R and C. C is given as constant 3.3 microfarad. R also the value is given, but another potentiometer is connected. Now we know that potentiometer is a variable resistor, and the potentiometer, its resistance can be minimum 0 to maximum 100K ohms, right? So this much resistance can it go up to maximum. So the frequency will be maximum since R is in the denominator. Frequency will be maximum when potentiometer will be at the 0 value, and frequency will be minimum when maximum potentiometer resistance is taken. Since the potentiometer is connected in series, okay, so resistance will increase. So that is the concept. So that is a trick to do this question. So first we are going to find what is the minimum frequency. We'll call it as F minimum, and that is the frequency which we are getting when potentiometer is at maximum value. Okay, since R is in the denominator, inverse proportionality. When resistance is maximum, F will be minimum. So when potentiometer is at 100% or maximum resistance value, we'll get our F minimum. So before finding F minimum, what will be that resistance at that time? Maximum resistance will be sum of these two, 10K plus 100, or it will be equal to 110K KO. Okay, so this will be the total resistance. Okay. Now we are going to substitute and find F minimum is equal to 1 by 1.38 R is 110. So 110 into 10 raised to 3 into 3.3 micro means 10 raised to minus 6. Okay. And the value obtaining is 2 hertz. 2.0 hertz. Okay, or 2 hertz. Next we need to find what is the, so this is the minimum frequency. We need to next find what is the maximum frequency. Okay. In order to find the maximum frequency, equation is same, but only change is in the variation of your potentiometer. So F max is obtained when port or potentiometer is at 0%, or we consider that there is no resistance provided from the potentiometer side, only this 10K is there. Okay, so the resistance R is just 10K. Okay, so F max is equal to 1 by 1.38 into 10 into 10 raised to 3, which is 10K, into C is same, 3.3 into 10 raised to minus 6 farads, and the value obtaining is 22 hertz. Okay, so this is the maximum frequency. So we have obtained F minimum is equal to 2 hertz and F maximum we have obtained as 22 hertz. Okay, so only equation you should know is F equal to 1 by 1.38 RC. So this is T, or F is equal to 1 by T, where T is equal to 1.38 RC. Okay, so the answer is 2 hertz minimum and maximum is 22 hertz. The next question is given on board. For the given circuit, if the input signal is 1 kilohertz square wave pulse with 50% duty cycle, then find the approximate frequency of duty cycle. Okay, so before answering this question, first you should figure out what is this given circuit. If you have seen my previous video, you should have understood that this is a monostable multivibrator. Okay, so monostable multivibrator, I want to pass on some more ideas about monostable multivibrator. So these monostable multivibrators are most commonly used as delay elements, or it can be used as pulse stretcher circuits. That is, if we want to convert, if a question is asking like 1 millisecond wave, we want to stretch to 1 second wave, or if you want to stretch the wave, what circuit we can use? If the options have a monostable multivibrator, you should pick one. Pick that, okay? Because the monostable multivibrators are used as pulse stretcher circuits. Okay. So the question here is to find the frequency of the output waveform of this circuit and its duty cycle. So here we know that we all know a monostable multivibrator require a triggering circuit, triggering pulse, okay, or triggering input. We can call it as an input. So here a 1 kilohertz pulse, a square wave pulse is given, okay, and it is having a 50% duty cycle. And if you analyze this part of the circuit, it is nothing but a differentiator. Okay, part of the circuit is a differentiator, and when we are passing a square wave of 1 kilohertz through the differentiator, what happens is that the square wave will get as narrow pulses. Okay, so we'll get a narrow triggering pulses, and the negative half cycles are also eliminated. Okay, so we'll be getting actually pulses, pulse trains of frequency, pulse width will be same. Okay, pulse trains will be getting narrow width pulse trains of frequency 1 kilohertz. Okay, so if frequency is 1 kilohertz, what will be the time period between these pulses? It will be 1 by 1k, or it is equal to 1 millisecond, right? 1 by 1k is 1 millisecond. So the time difference between these pulse trains is 1 millisecond. Frequency, 1 by frequency is a time period. So the time period is 1 millisecond for the pulse train. Okay, or you can call it as a triggering pulse. Okay, so we have seen how the triggering pulse is affecting the output. Now we need to find what is the frequency of output. Okay. So just think that initially your output was in the stable state, and we'll take our stable state as 0. Okay. Or we'll consider it as, generally it is VC sat only. While drawing the waveforms, we have drawn as VC sat and VCC. But now for doing this question, we'll take it as VC sat, or a low value, we'll take it as 0. Okay. Now what happens with when it encounters the first triggering pulse, means from the stable state, it shifts to a unstable state, and it will remain in the unstable state for some time, and then it will shift back to the stable state. So that was a working of a monostable multivibrator. Now how long will this wave stay in the unstable state is actually depending on the time period of the wave, right? So in order to calculate that, we have to find what is the time period of the wave. So T is equal to 0.69 RC. Okay. So it is not given in the statement, but from the figure you can find what is R and C. So you'll be getting what is T. Okay, so I'm going to substitute the values for R and C. T is equal to 0.69 into R. R is nothing but the base resistance, which is 100K. 100 into 10 raised to 3. C is 20 nanofarads. Okay, 20 into 10 raised to minus. Okay, you cannot see, I'll write it here. So T is equal to 0.69 into R is 100 into 10 raised to 3 into 20 nanofarads, 20 into 10 raised to minus 9. Okay, if you solve it, the value obtaining is T is equal to 1.386 milliseconds. Okay, so from this, it is clear that the time period of the wave is 1.38 millisecond, means the wave will stay in the unstable state for 1.38 milliseconds. Okay, so this time duration is 1 millisecond, but the wave will be in the unstable state for 1.38 millisecond. So during this next triggering pulse, it is after 1 millisecond from the first triggering pulse, right? Even though the second triggering pulse is coming, it won't get affected here, because actually the aim of applying this triggering pulse is to shift the waveform from the stable state to the unstable state. Already the waveform is in the unstable state, so no change. It will remain in the unstable state for 1.38 milliseconds. It will be roughly here, and then it will move to the stable state and continue, right, till the next triggering pulse. Okay, when the third triggering pulse is coming, it will again shift to the unstable state, and then it will again go for another 1.38 millisecond, and then during the next triggering pulse, it won't get affected because it is already in the unstable state only. But during the next pulse after this, say that it is here, after 1.38 millisecond it will shift, and then it will again go to the unstable likewise. Okay, we'll draw till here. Okay, so this is the graph of the output waveform looking like. This is of equal width actually. Both are 1.38. Okay, yeah, you have to draw it here. Okay, just consider that this is 1.38. Both are, this is 1.38 and this is also 1.38 milliseconds. Now we need to find what is the frequency. How to find the frequency? Now what is the time period of this waveform? Time period means the time after which the second pulse is coming. So the initial pulse has started from this point, right? Now after what time from this point the next pulse is? Just see the pulse trains here. After 2 milliseconds from this point, consider this is 0 for the time being. From 0, 1 millisecond, Then after 2 milliseconds, the next pulse has come. Okay, so the time period of your output waveform T is equal to 2 millisecond. Okay, so the frequency F is equal to 1 by 2 milliseconds, which is equal to 500 Hertz. So if you're not clear about what I said, I'll tell it once again. See, the wave is repeating after every 2 milliseconds. So it started from here, and after 2 milliseconds, it is again starting. Then from this point, after 2 milliseconds, it will again repeat. So the time period of the wave is 2 milliseconds, and the frequency is 1 by 2 milliseconds, which is equal to 500 Hertz. Now we need to find, so we have obtained F. Frequency we have obtained is F is equal to 500 Hertz. Next thing we need to find is the duty cycle. So what is duty cycle? Duty cycle is the ratio of on time of the output wave to the total time period. On time is this time. During this time only the wave is on. So it is 1.38 millisecond by the total time period is 2 milliseconds. So it is 2, and if you solve it, you will be getting the value is 69.3%. Okay, so the duty cycle is 69.3%, or you can take it as duty cycle is equal to 69%. Okay, so this is the frequency and duty cycle. So it is actually a little bit difficult question. In order to answer this question, first you have to identify what is this circuit. So this is a monostable multi-vibrator circuit. A monostable multi-vibrator requires one triggering pulse, and it has only one stable state. Okay, and the aim of applying of this triggering pulse is actually to shift the waveform from the stable state to the unstable state. Then it will remain in the unstable state for some time, and then it will shift back to the stable state. So that is the case. So here we are applying a 1 kilohertz waveform through a differentiator. So we'll get 1 kilohertz frequency pulse strains actually, or the time period is 1 by 1 kilohertz or 1 milliseconds. So after every 1 millisecond, a triggering pulse is generated. And on coming off this triggering pulse, the wave have to shift from stable to unstable state. So we have taken our stable state is 0 volt, and then it shifts to VCC during the coming of this triggering pulses. Okay, and then it will stay in this unstable state for some time. We have to first calculate what is the time period of the wave. Only then we will identify for how long the wave will remain in the unstable state. Okay, so first we'll find the time period using the equation T equal to 0.69 RC. We can take the R and C from the figure, and we'll be obtaining it is 1.38 milliseconds. So the wave will remain in the unstable state for 1.38 millisecond, and then it will automatically go back to the stable state. So we can see that after every 1 millisecond the triggering pulse is coming, but even though the next triggering pulse is coming, the wave is already in the unstable state, so it won't get affected. Only when it shifts to the stable state, then the coming of the triggering pulse is actually valid. Okay, so in this position the wave has settled to the stable state, and that time the third triggering pulse has come, then it will momentarily shift to the unstable state, and again it will stay for 1.38 millisecond. So this much of information we require for calculating the frequency and the duty cycle. Frequency is the 1 by time period. What is the time period? Here the wave is repeating after every 2 milliseconds. So the time period is 2 milliseconds and the frequency is 500 Hertz, and duty cycle is on time by total time. So we have obtained as 1.38 by 2 milliseconds, which is 69.3, or we can take it as 69%. Okay. So I really hope that these 3 questions were useful for you. These questions are not very simple questions. You have to have a basic idea of multi-vibrator circuits to answer these questions. So these questions are actually useful for your preparations for semester exams and competitive exams like GATE exams and all. Okay, so a little bit higher end questions there. These are this multi-vibrator circuit itself. Anyway, you can also face some theory questions from this area also. Okay, you should be anyway familiar with this circuit. Only if you identify, because you can see there is no monostable, multivibrator, or any multivibrator term is not even given in the question. So you should be identifying the circuit first. So you should be thorough with 3 circuits: stable, monostable, and also bistable. Okay. So if you found the video useful, please do give it a thumbs up and also share this videos maximum with your friends. And if you want more videos, please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and keep on watching.